Our main character Jiang is right in the middle of a massive board meeting when his phone rings.
The nurse on the other end drops a massive bomb, congratulating him because his wife is pregnant.
Talk about a plot twist. They have not been intimate in 3 whole months.
3 months ago, his wife Liu Ruyan claimed she wanted to get in shape. She signed up for personal training, and that is when things started getting shady. Every single night, she went to the gym, coming home absolutely exhausted. She would just crash immediately, and back then, Jiang actually praised her discipline. Looking back, he realizes he was a total clown. Meanwhile, the nurse keeps calling his name.
Is he still there?
Suppressing a wave of pure rage, Jiang quietly asks which room his wife is currently in. The nurse tells him she is on the 3rd floor of the maternity ward getting an ultrasound. Hanging up, Jiang looks around at a dozen board members waiting for him to continue. He calls it right there, meeting over. His assistant, Secretary Lin, is completely baffled since this major meeting just started. It literally lasted only 10 minutes, but Jiang does not offer a single explanation. He grabs his coat, heads straight for the elevator, and 20 minutes later, he arrives at the hospital.
Standing outside the maternity ward, he looks through the glass window to see what is going on.
He spots Liu Ruyan lying on the clinic bed with transparent gel smeared all over her stomach.
The doctor is moving the ultrasound scanner around, and she is just sitting there with this blissful smile.
She looks so incredibly happy to be a mother, though she has no idea Jiang knows the truth.
The moment she spots him, her eyes light up as she calls out to him. She asks how he found out, and Jiang quietly replies that the hospital gave him a call. Looking at the tiny embryo on the screen, his chest tightens as the doctor says it is 12 weeks. Liu Ruyan excitedly grabs his hand, gushing about how healthy the baby is. But here is the thing, 12 weeks is exactly when her gym phase started. The doctor hands over the ultrasound report while offering congratulations. He assures Jiang that his wife is doing great and the baby is developing perfectly. Jiang takes the paper, staring directly at the date and the exact number of weeks. A fiery rage is absolutely consuming him right now, but he somehow manages to keep his cool. He simply mutters a polite thank you before they head back home. On the drive back, Liu Ruyan cannot stop talking about naming the baby.
She suggests some cute names, wondering if they should go with Xiao Bao for a boy or Xiao Hua for a girl.
She asks for his opinion, and Jiang just hollowly replies that those names sound great. She smiles sweetly, then casually mentions she still needs to hit the gym later that day. She claims her trainer said light exercise is good. That trainer is Song Yuxuan, a 25-year-old guy. The dude is ripped, handsome, and incredibly popular with all the female clients. Jiang has actually met him a few times before. And honestly, every single time his wife brought up his name, her eyes would literally spark. Jiang tells her to skip it today since she just got back from a medical checkup. He suggests she rest, but she hesitates. No buts. His tone hardens, and she quickly backs down. She drops the subject, but later that night, Jiang lays in bed pretending to be fast asleep. That is when he hears her sneak out to the balcony, whispering to Yuxuan that she could not make it.
She confirms she went to the hospital, admitting she is pregnant, but claims Jiang has absolutely no idea.
In a quiet, hushed voice, she tells her lover not to worry because she will handle everything. But in the quiet night, every single word cut right through the silence. He closed his eyes, his fingers tracing a rough, worn-out ring on his hand.
The inscription was almost faded, but he faintly remembered carving something meaningful on it years ago.
What did it say? Just trying to remember gave him a massive, pounding headache. Whatever, time to focus on Liu Ruyan, because yeah, he was definitely getting cheated on. And she actually planned to keep him in the dark? The audacity is off the charts! The next morning, Jiang woke up incredibly early. While Liu Ruyan was still sleeping, he quietly went downstairs to cook porridge and fry eggs. When Liu Ruyan walked downstairs and saw the breakfast waiting for her, she looked completely caught off guard. She was surprised, but he gently reminded her about the pregnancy. "You need your nutrition," he said, forcing a warm, reassuring smile. He told her to sit and eat, while a quick flash of guilt crossed her eyes. But it quickly vanished behind a happy smile as she called him the best husband ever.
He sat directly across the table, silently watching her eat every bite.
They had been married for 3 years. When did she turn into this complete stranger? She used to be so sweet and innocent back when they were in college. After graduating, they built their careers together, and she even started her own advertising agency. He ran a successful investment firm, and they always had each other's backs. They were deeply in love, so when did everything start going downhill?
Liu Ruyan noticed him just staring and asked why he wasn't eating his food. He told her he was thinking about upgrading to a much bigger place for the baby. Her eyes lit up instantly as she eagerly asked if he was serious.
She admitted she wanted to change, complaining their current home was way too small for them. He promised to show her some luxury villas, though he had zero plans to buy.
Honestly, this was just a quick test, and her reaction proved his suspicions instantly.
Talk about a walking red flag. Her greed completely took over the moment he mentioned money.
She suddenly stood up and hugged him, telling him she loved him so much. He patted her back gently, but his heart felt absolutely frozen and empty. Jiang told her he had some work to handle and she should just stay home to rest. She agreed, but mentioned she was heading to the gym that afternoon.
He questioned why she was working out, but she claimed her personal trainer recommended light pregnancy exercises.
Besides, she was only 12 weeks along and perfectly safe. Since she insisted so hard, he decided not to push any further and simply nodded. If she was that desperate to meet Song Yuxuan, he would let her walk into it.
Let's see how long they can keep up this pathetic act at the gym.
As soon as he reached his office, he immediately called Secretary Lin inside to hire a private investigator.
He needed someone tailed, which made the secretary hesitate in surprise. "Who are we looking into?" she asked, and he calmly replied, "My wife."
Secretary Lin froze for a second, but quickly put the pieces together.
She nodded, showing she understood the delicate assignment.
Promising to handle it, just 1 hour later she returned to his office. Knocking on the door, she brought him the detailed files on the top agency in town. He took the document and flipped through the agency's credentials. They looked highly professional, so he ordered their chief to come to his office immediately.
By 3 p.m., a sharp-looking middle-aged man walked in to start the job.
President Jiang meets up with Jiang Wei, the head of a private investigation agency. Jiang gets straight to the point. He wants his wife, Liu Ruyan, thoroughly investigated. He needs her every move tracked for the last 3 months, especially her connection to a certain personal trainer.
This trainer is named Song Yuxuan, and the investigator immediately asks how solid the evidence needs to be.
Jiang Wei is a complete professional, but Jiang wants every single detail. He wants video proof, and the investigator promises results within a single week.
But Jiang isn't waiting. He gives him just 3 days and offers double the cash.
The investigator's eyes instantly light up, telling Jiang to completely trust him.
He guarantees a perfect result within 3 days, leaving Jiang alone to plot his next move.
Jiang leans back, lights up a cigarette, and vows to make his cheating wife regret her betrayal.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. He goes home early to investigate. The house is completely empty. His wife is still at the gym. He boots up her laptop. It is just her birthday, a code she never changed.
He starts digging through her folders, scrolling through endless photos one by one. Suddenly, he stops. It is Liu Ruyan and Song Yuxuan sitting way too close in a cozy cafe. The trainer's hand is resting right on hers, and this photo was taken 2 months ago. He keeps scrolling and uncovers a massive stash of similar photos from movie theaters, restaurants, and parks. They look exactly like a pair of young lovers. He was kept completely in the dark for 3 entire months, but then her voice calls out from the door.
She's back. He slams the laptop shut and heads to the living room.
He puts on a smile and asks how her workout went, and she happily says it was great. She mentions Song Yuxuan thinks her fitness level is perfect for some pregnancy workouts. Her cheeks are still flushed as she speaks, prompting Jiang to ask how this Coach Song is. She claims he is incredibly professional and caring, but she cannot even look him in the eye. But with her eyes shifting, Jiang suggests visiting the gym himself. He wants to meet this legendary trainer, which instantly makes Liu Ruyan visibly break a sweat.
She stammers that it is not necessary since his schedule is always so packed.
Jiang looks her dead in the eye, saying he will always make time for his wife's health. She looks down, nervously agreeing to take him some time. Over the next 2 days, Jiang plays the clueless husband, acting like nothing is wrong. He goes to work, comes home, and treats her with the exact same loving care as always. But behind the scenes, he is quietly setting up a massive trap. Honestly, we love a calculating lead.
First, he pulls her agency's financial records. As their angel investor, he has every right.
The actual numbers completely shock him.
Her company looks incredibly successful on the outside, but their actual cash flow is bone dry. Multiple major clients have not paid up yet, and without a massive injection of cash,
She will go bankrupt within 2 months, something she never once mentioned to him.
then Secretary Lin comes in with another massive piece of information.
It turns out his wife has been secretly meeting with Li Mingxuan, the head of Xingchen Investment.
This guy is actually Jiang's biggest rival in the business.
This confirms his worst fears. His wife is planning something way worse than just a cheap affair. On the third night, the puzzle pieces finally fall into place. Investigator Zhang Wei returns right on schedule, handing over the completed file. The investigator hands Jiang a manila envelope filled with detailed reports and video footage. Jiang tears it open to find a massive stack of photos and a few discs.
The very first photo makes Jiang clench his fists. It is Liu Ruyan and Song Yuxuan.
They are hugging right outside a hotel, and the timestamp is from last month. Turns out they have been hooking up for 3 months, meeting up at least 3 times a week. Constantly booking hotel rooms, Zhang can barely breathe as he flips through the evidence. Every single picture feels like a knife to his chest. This is next-level betrayal, guys.
Jiang Wei hands over another disc, warning him that the footage is crystal clear.
Zhang slides the disc away because he knows he will absolutely lose his mind if he watches it now.
He asks if there is anything else. Turns out Song Yuxuan owes loan sharks about 500,000.
Debt collectors are breathing down his neck, the investigator explains. On top of that, Liu Ruyan has been secretly meeting with Xingchen Investment lately. She wants to sell off her company shares. Hearing this, everything suddenly clicks for Jiang. She is cheating on him, pregnant with another man's kid.
And now she wants to cash out, file for divorce, and run away with her lover.
Jiang was just her personal ATM. He quietly thanks the investigator for his work.
Suppressing his absolute rage, Jiang pays him. The investigator asks if they need anything else.
Jiang tells him not for now, but he will be in touch if something comes up. Once the investigator leaves, Jiang sits alone in his quiet office. Staring at the photos, 3 years of marriage completely down the drain. Just utterly trashed and worthless. He slowly lights a cigarette to calm his nerves. How should he play this? Confront her directly or play dumb and plan his revenge? Let's see how far she is willing to go. He decides to head home first. Time to watch her little show tonight. When he arrives, she is happily cooking in the kitchen. She calls him hubby and says she made his favorite sweet and sour pork for dinner. She smiles and hugs him, but he immediately notices the scent of a strange perfume. It is definitely not her usual brand. He asks her if she got a new perfume. She panics for a split second, claiming a coworker recommended it. She nervously asks if he likes it, and Jiang just smiles and says it smells great. But when he hugs her tightly, her entire body goes completely stiff. Still, she tries to hug him back, calling him hubby. During dinner, she finally brings up wanting to discuss some company business with him. She starts speaking, and Jiang calmly asks what is going on.
She explains that their cash flow is tight and they need to bring in new investors.
Jiang asks if she wants him to invest more, but she says not necessarily. She reveals she is already in talks with a few places, especially Xingchen Investment. Xingchen Investment. Jiang frowns, instantly knowing that old fox Li Mingxuan is behind this. He warns her that their terms must be brutal, but she says they are okay.
She cautiously mentions that they just want a controlling stake in the company.
If they control it, she won't be the boss anymore, but she claims she just wants money. Zhang stares straight into her eyes and asks if she has really thought this through. She nods, insisting she has made up her mind. But her eyes are completely dodging his gaze. Zhang puts his chopsticks down and leans back. He points out they have been married for 3 years. She just sighs that time flies. He asks her how she feels about their marriage, and she freezes instantly.
She smiles and says everything is great and they are happy.
Is that so? Our guy sneers, because to him, it feels different. He tells her she acts like she is totally over this family, making her gasp and ask why he is saying that. How could I not care about our home? Liu Ruyan quickly stammers, trying to defend herself. Then why sell your entire company to Li Mingxuan when it was literally your life's work?
She claims running it alone is just too exhausting, especially now that she has a baby on the way.
She wants to focus on family, but our guy just stands up, walks right over, and looks her dead in the eyes. He asks Ruyan if she knows what he hates most, making her look up with pure confusion. Fear creeps into her eyes as he whispers, lies. He spells it out slowly, saying he absolutely detests being deceived, causing Liu Ruyan to go completely pale as she stammers his name. What do you mean by that? She asks, but he just shrugs it off. He tells her honesty is the foundation of marriage before casually sitting back down to eat his dinner. The food is getting cold, he notes, while she forces a very shaky smile. He can tell she is absolutely panicking inside, and sure enough, that night she is back on the balcony calling Yuxuan. He is definitely suspecting something, she whispers, panicking about what to do next. He asked her some incredibly strange questions today, and she is totally losing her mind over it. The trainer tells her he gets it, warning her to stay cautious. Listening to her quiet whispers from the bed, our guy is absolutely fuming as his anger boils over. If Liu Ruyan wants to play games, he is more than ready to take this all the way. The next morning, he decides it is finally time to pay a little visit to the gym. He wants to meet the homewrecker Song Yuxuan completely face-to-face. At breakfast, he casually mentions he wants to check out her gym this afternoon. He adds that he would love to meet her personal trainer while taking a bite of food. Oh, today of all days, she gasps, her spoon almost slipping right out of her hand. She lies that today is bad because Yuxuan has a fully packed schedule of classes. No big deal, he replies, saying he just wants to see the gym vibe anyway. He smiles and asks if she is not excited to have him there. Of course I am, she says, forcing the most awkward smile. She offers to cancel her plans to go together, but he insists she should stick to her original schedule. He can just go on his own, leaving Liu Ruyan looking more and more visibly stressed. Realizing she cannot stop him, she reluctantly says she will head over at 3 p.m. When she asks when he will arrive, he tells her around 4. He intentionally lies about a later time, claiming he just wants to drop by and watch her usual training routine. She nods, but anyone looking at her can see she is absolutely sweating bullets at this point. That morning at work, our guy pulls up the trainer's background profile. He is 25 years old. A sports academy graduate who has been working at this high-end gym for 2 years. He is quite handsome and extremely popular among the female clients. But here is the catch. He owes a massive debt to loan sharks. Owing 500,000 yuan, he desperately needs cash, and Liu Ruyan is his ultimate cash cow. At 2:30 in the afternoon, he sneaks out of the office early. He heads straight to the location, which is a super exclusive luxury gym. It is located inside a premium downtown high-rise with high-end decor. Instead of walking straight in, our guy decides to wait outside. He grabs a seat at a cafe right across the street, keeping a close eye on the entrance through the window. Right at 3 o'clock, Liu Ruyan finally shows up, wearing a tight-fitting athletic outfit. She is still in perfect shape, showing absolutely zero signs of pregnancy. The moment she steps into the gym, a tall guy immediately approaches her. Even through the glass, anyone can see the crazy chemistry with Song Yuxuan. Song Yuxuan grabs her bag, and they stand way too close while talking. They even touch occasionally, while our boy Jiang Beichen quietly orders a coffee. He patiently watches, but 30 minutes later, he witnesses something absolutely infuriating. Over in a quiet corner, Song Yuxuan is guiding Liu Ruyan through some stretches. His hands are right on her waist, and the posture is extremely intimate. But here is the worst part, when nobody else is paying attention. Song Yuxuan actually leans down and whispers something right into Liu Ruyan's ear. She blushes and laughs, making Jiang Beichen clench his fists. Honestly, I would throw hands too. But he holds back because it is not time yet. At 4, he walks in. The receptionist politely greets him, asking if he wants a membership or a trial. He calmly tells her that he is actually here to find his wife. He adds she is taking a private class, so she asks for her name. After he says Liu Ruyan, the receptionist offers to contact her right away. Soon, Liu Ruyan walks out, looking incredibly tense and deeply uncomfortable. She greets her husband and immediately walks over to hold his arm tightly. She claims she was just stretching, so he playfully asks how it went. Smiling, she replies that it was great, and Coach Song Yuxuan is super professional. Oh, really? He says, then he should definitely meet this amazing coach. Liu Ruyan bites her lip, quickly claiming the coach is busy with another student.
She suggests they tour the gym first, and he calmly agrees to it. She leads him around, showing off all the different equipment and training courses. While listening, he scans the room and finally spots Song Yuxuan in the machine area.
The trainer is guiding another female student through squats with perfect form. He does look professional, and she quietly points him out as Coach Yuxuan. As she whispers this, Jiang Beichen simply nods and heads straight toward him.
He asks if he is Coach Song, making Song Yuxuan look up in surprise.
A flash of panic hits the trainer's eyes, but he quickly masks it.
Confirming his identity, Jiang Beichen introduces himself as Liu Ruyan's husband.
He reaches out a hand, and the trainer immediately claims he has heard so much. Shaking hands, the guy says Sister Liu talks about him constantly. Quite an interesting nickname.
He thanks him for guiding his wife, mentioning she has made massive progress lately. Smiling, the trainer praises her talent, saying she works incredibly hard.
But he notices the trainer's hand is trembling slightly as he asks about her health.
After all, she is pregnant now, so he worries the workouts might be too intense. The moment those words drop, the trainer's face completely loses all color. Absolutely satisfying. Stuttering out the word pregnant, he turns his head to look at Liu Ruyan.
His eyes are filled with absolute shock as he confirms she is 12 weeks along. He casually asks if his wife had somehow forgotten to tell him. The trainer stammers out a no, and Jiang Beichen slowly turns to his wife.
Her face is already pale as a ghost as he asks why she kept it a secret.
He points out that keeping a pregnancy secret is a pretty big deal, especially since it changes the workouts, but she nervously smiles, claiming she just forgot. Jiang raises his voice, asking how she could possibly forget something this important. Right on cue, other people in the gym start staring in their direction. Panicking, Liu Ruyan grabs his arm and begs him to talk about this at home. But Jiang shakes her off, completely unfazed, and turns right back to Song Yuxuan.
He warns the coach that since she is pregnant, future training must be extra careful.
Song Yuxuan stammers in agreement, avoiding eye contact, while Jiang casually praises his professional skills.
When asked how long he has been a trainer, Song Yuxuan nervously answers 2 years.
Then Jiang asks if he is married, making the trainer sweat even more.
Since he is single, Chang tells him he should still understand a husband's perspective.
He pats the guy's shoulder, noting that having a wife out here always causes worry. Song Yuxuan's face turns pale as he begs Mr. Jiang not to worry.
The trainer promises to take care of Liu Ruyan, so Jiang puts her in his hands.
Jiang flashes a smile before turning back to his wife.
He sweetly tells Liu Ruyan it is time to go home for her favorite braised pork. She nods quickly and packs up her things, practically rushing out of the gym.
Glancing back, Jiang catches Song Yuxuan standing frozen with an absolutely livid face. Fists clenched, the trainer is fuming, but Jiang knows this is only the beginning.
The drive home is dead quiet.
Checking the rearview mirror, Jiang can easily tell how incredibly tense she is.
To mess with her, Jiang casually says Coach Song seems like a pretty nice guy. She stutters in agreement, but Jiang adds that the coach seemed kind of tense today. He wonders if his presence made him uncomfortable, which she shrugs off as first-time jitters. Jiang nods, but points out that the trainer seemed shocked about her pregnancy. He presses her, asking if she truly never mentioned it to him before.
After a long silence, she mutters that she just did not see any need to.
Jiang questions this, noting the guy is literally her personal trainer.
Since it involves her safety, she nervously promises to just be careful during workouts.
Jiang suddenly hits the brakes, asking if she is keeping secrets from him.
Turning to face her, she quickly denies having anything to hide. Seeing her avoid his gaze, Jiang drops it and starts the car again.
He reminds her that couples should be honest before she runs upstairs to rest.
He doesn't stop her, choosing instead to sit alone in the living room.
He dials his investigator, Zhang Wei.
He orders him to keep tracking Song Yuxuan and watch his next move closely.
Jiang Wei agrees, and Jiang tells him to also look into Xincheng Investment.
He wants the details of their deal with his wife's company before hanging up.
Going upstairs, Jiang finds his wife hiding in the bathroom on a call. Her voice is barely a whisper, but he still catches her words.
She warns the person that Jiang is suspicious and showed up out of nowhere.
She panics over his mention of the baby, blaming the trainer's obvious reaction. Hearing her figure out their next move, Jiang quietly slips back downstairs. Jiang already has a plan in mind. If they want to play, he will deliver. He's gonna play them to the very end, and honestly, I am so here for this payback. The next morning, Jiang wakes up extra early to whip up a massive breakfast for his wife.
Coming downstairs, Liu Ruyan is totally shocked to see her husband up so early.
Jiang plays the sweet husband, smiling as he says he wants to spend more time with Ruyan after meeting Coach Song. He casually suggests that the coach seems pretty cool, so they should invite him over for dinner sometime. Ruyan literally chokes on her milk hearing this. Invite him to their actual house? Oh yeah, Jiang plays it off perfectly, saying they absolutely need to thank him for taking such good care of her. Ruyan stammers, trying to dodge it by saying it is way too inappropriate. But Jiang just stares right into her eyes, asking what could possibly be inappropriate about it.
Jiang asks if she's hiding something, but she quickly lies, saying that there is absolutely no need.
But Jiang insists it is super necessary, locking the plan for this weekend.
He even offers to cook personally, which immediately turns Ruyan's face pale white.
Since she can't find a way to refuse, she has to agree, while Jiang plays along, acting totally thrilled. He tells her to invite him today, specifically mentioning that the happy couple wants to host him. Ruyan gives a weak nod, completely stressed out, before Jiang heads to his office. Once he gets to the office, Jiang immediately calls Secretary Lin in to set up a few things. He tells her he is hosting a dinner at home this weekend, and she agrees. When she asks what to prepare, he says to keep things simple. Just some normal home-cooked food, but the absolute key is a bottle of top-tier wine. She agrees. By lunchtime, his investigator, Zhang Wei, sends over the file on Coach Song. The report proves it. The moment Ruyan left the gym, he followed. He left work immediately, then went straight to a bar to drink heavily. He was plotting something with his friends. From the photos, their faces were extremely tense. They looked dead serious, clearly discussing something big. On top of that, Song's $500,000 debt to loan sharks is catching up to him. In fact, debt collectors already showed up at his gym yesterday, meaning his time is running out fast. It is clear his situation is getting desperate, which honestly makes things even better for Jiang. A cornered beast is way more likely to make reckless moves. Later, Ruyan calls him. She nervously explains that she invited Coach Song, and he actually agreed to come over. Jiang acts super excited, immediately scheduling the dinner for Saturday night at 6 o'clock. He promises to cook up a grand feast, and she just weakly agrees to it. Then he asks how she is feeling, putting on the act of the most caring husband ever. She says she's just tired, so he tells her to skip the gym. He urges her to rest, but she immediately panics, saying she already booked a session. Ruyan scrambles to make excuses while Jiang keeps playing the caring husband. He says skipping one day is fine, but she insists she is completely good to go. She says the coach custom-made a plan for her, which only makes Jiang smirk inside. She is obviously just dying to see her little lover, so Jiang tells her to stay safe. Ruyan agrees, but that night she comes back home a whole hour later than usual. When Jiang asks why she's late, she claims the workout session just ran long. She claims Coach Song is helping her set up a brand new workout routine. A pregnancy fitness plan, calling him such a nice guy. The irony is wild. Jiang just smiles and asks if she mentioned his excitement for their dinner party. She lies right to his face, saying the coach is looking forward to it too. Jiang knows that whenever Ruyan lies, she completely avoids looking him in the eyes. Right after dinner, she immediately sneaks off to the balcony to make another call. Jiang doesn't even bother spying on her this time because he already knows their game. They are definitely just planning how to act normal on Saturday to hide their dirty secret. But what these cheaters don't know is that RMC already has all the receipts. And Saturday's dinner party is literally going to be their final show. This is his ultimate showdown, so he texts Zhang Wei to get ready. Have the crew stand by near the house Saturday night. Fast forward to Saturday afternoon. Jiang gets home early to prep dinner, and his wife Liu Ruyan arrives early too. She looks incredibly nervous, asking her husband if he needs any help. Standing by the kitchen door, but he tells her to just go rest. He doesn't even look up as he says he's got this. She awkwardly says she'll go take a shower and change her clothes. He just nods. But inside, his trap is set. Right at 6, the doorbell rings. Liu Ruyan rushes to open it, wearing the most awkward fake smile ever. She greets Yuxuan, while he apologizes for showing up late. And there's Song Yuxuan standing at the door, holding a bouquet of flowers. He hands them over and she blushes while taking them.
Her face turns red, and right then, our MC walks out of the kitchen.
Seeing this makes his blood boil. Honestly, guys, the audacity of these two.
But he keeps his cool, smiling and welcoming the coach inside.
He extends his hand while the coach politely thanks Jiang for the invite.
They shake hands, but the coach's palm is completely drenched in sweat.
Jiang tells him not to worry since they are all friends. Patting his shoulder, he tells him to sit while dinner finishes up.
They sit down in the living room while the wife grabs some fruit.
He starts chatting, asking if the coach really graduated from sports academy.
He majored in rehab. But while answering, his eyes keep drifting back toward the kitchen.
He notes it's a great field with lots of potential these days.
The coach sighs, saying the income is unstable, which makes Jiang ask why.
Asking deliberately, the coach admits he mostly relies on lesson fees. Since students always drop out, making the coach feel super awkward.
He then asks if the coach ever thought of opening his own studio.
The guy hesitates, so Jiang asks him what the issue is.
Song Yuxuan just gives a bitter laugh and blames the lack of cash. Zhang straight up asks how much he needs, completely catching the coach off guard.
Bro, he never expected this direct question, stammering that it's hard to say. He reassures him that he loves investing if the business plan is solid.
Just then, Liu Ruyan walks out with the fruit, hearing everything.
Her hand visibly shakes as she nervously asks what they are discussing. Trying to play it cool while Jiang explains they are discussing investments.
Smiling, he adds that opening a studio sounds like a brilliant idea.
She glances at her lover, but he notes investment requires a business plan.
Plus the risks.
He asks for specifics, but the coach stammeringly admits he has nothing.
As the coach panics, he tells him to relax and calls everyone to dinner.
To keep the tension rising, he even opens up a bottle of red wine.
Zhang raises his glass to toast their friendship.
Yuxuan raises his cup too, but his hand is shaking like crazy.
Since Ruyan is pregnant, she's stuck sipping juice instead.
Jiang asks how the wine is, and Yuxuan calls it great.
It is super mellow, Yashan says, taking a massive gulp.
Jiang tells him they are drinking all night, pouring glass after glass.
Yuxuan does not reject a single drink, probably out of nerves.
Or maybe he is using liquid courage, drinking way too fast.
Within 30 minutes, Yuxuan is already buzzed, and Jiang slyly praises his tolerance.
Yuxuan slurs his words, claiming he is doing just fine.
Jiang just smiles and cracks open another bottle. Oh, he is cooking!
Ruyan gets worried and asks her husband to stop, but Jiang dismisses her.
Men drinking is totally normal, Jiang snaps, throwing her a warning look.
He basically tells her to shut up, and she complies.
Another 30 minutes pass, and Yuxuan is completely wasted now.
He stumbles to his feet, slurring out an incredibly shaky toast to Jiang.
Zhang clinks glasses with him as Yuxuan calls him a great guy.
Patting Jiang on the shoulder, Yuxuan slurs that Ruyan is lucky to marry him.
Jiang smiles, but mentions that Ruyan has seemed pretty distracted lately.
Yuxuan panic stammers that Ruyan really loves her husband.
Yuxuan mumbles through drunk eyes, but Zhang turns directly to Ruyan.
Jiang asks if she loves him, and she quickly reassures him.
Her voice shakes, so Jiang asks why she comes home so late. She claims she is just working out, but Jiang presses harder.
Ryan stutters that she was just chatting with a friend. When Jiang asks what friend, she completely freezes up. Suddenly, Yuchine chimes in, desperately begging Jiang not to doubt his wife.
Jiang turns to him, demanding to know how he would know that.
The trainer drunkenly mumbles that Ruyan always praises her husband.
Zhang asks what else she said, but Yuxuan suddenly shuts down.
Realizing he said too much, Yuxuan quickly tries to backpedal.
As Yuxuan shakes his head, Ruyan nervously says he is wasted. She quickly stands up, offering to take him home immediately.
Jiang holds her down, insisting they let the coach finish speaking.
He asks what Yuxuan was about to say, making him sweat.
The trainer looks between them before looking down in shame.
When he insists it is nothing, Zhang finally drops the subject.
Jiang points out the time, suggesting Ruyan should drive him home. Yuxuan quickly declines and stumbles toward the exit, refusing any help.
Zhang stops him, saying he really enjoyed their conversation tonight.
He suggests keeping in touch, and the trainer quickly agrees. Jiang brings up the investment opportunity again, telling him to consider.
He tells Yuxuan to reach out anytime, making him freeze.
The trainer nods and leaves, leaving a very tense living room. Ruyan nervously murmurs that the coach just had too much to drink. Ruyan tries to laugh it off, telling him not to mind her rambling. She scrambles to explain, but Jiang, completely unbothered. He calmly mentions they seem way too close. Just her personal trainer, that is her excuse. Totally normal, she claims, but Jiang just stares straight into her eyes. Any confessions? She denies it instantly. He turns to clean up. Go rest, he says.
No help needed.
He insists pregnant women need sleep, forcing her to hesitantly walk away. Alone in the quiet kitchen, he washes dishes. His mind is racing. The real show is coming, and honestly, the pacing is perfect. Ruyan is gone by morning, leaving breakfast and a sweet note behind.
Yuxuan texted, "Thanks for last night."
Jiang cold laughs at the love you know before heading out. At the office, he orders Secretary Lin to dig into their rival, especially their dealings with Ruyan's firm. She nods. Next step.
He demands a meeting with Li Mingshen, completely shocking his secretary.
Pitch it as a massive business collaboration, he orders.
Midday arrives. The chess pieces are moving.
Intel arrives on Yuxuan. The lovers talked on the phone for over an hour last night.
The wiretap recordings prove they were freaking out over the dinner.
Yuxuan is losing it, terrified Jiang suspects them.
Yuxuan is losing it, terrified Jiang suspects them. She claims Jiang is completely clueless. Honestly, her delusion is wild. 3 p.m. His secretary calls back. Li agreed to a 7 p.m. meeting at the Shangri-La.
Jiang arrives right on time.
Li Mingxuan is already waiting, sharp, capable. This man is a total finance heavyweight.
Polite handshakes all around.
They sit down to business.
Li cuts straight to the chase about this secret project.
Zhang nods, but redirects the conversation to Li's current investment interests.
Li mentions focusing mostly on tech and internet startups.
Also AI and green energy. Any traditional fields, like advertising? Li's eyes flicker before admitting advertising is on their radar too. Jiang smiles, claiming he heard Li was already scouting an agency. Which one? Li asks. Jiang drops the name. Creative Space, Ruyan's company. Li freezes, then chuckles.
Am I being interrogated? Jiang just laughs.
He is just curious why a giant would eye such a tiny firm. Honestly, this company's financial situation is a total mess. But there are personal factors at play, like what?
President Liu is a charming woman with a lot of big ideas.
Li Mingxuan says this with a smirk, making Jiang's heart sink. Clearly, this guy wants her too. So how do they plan to work together? A Heidel takeover, followed by completely reorganizing all their resources.
Will President Liu actually agree?
Oh, she's smart. She knows this is her best shot. Li Mingxuan raises his glass. Don't tell me you are reluctant to let go? Why say that? From what I know, you're the angel investor of this startup.
If a buyout happens, your own shares will get heavily diluted.
Jiang doesn't care about the money. He only cares about Ruyan's choices. So you support her decision? Absolutely. He backs her on everything. Li Mingxuan nods in satisfaction. With his support, things get easier.
This takeover will be smooth, but Jiang has one crucial condition.
He drops it out of nowhere. What kind of condition? He wants to manage the company post-acquisition, making Li Mingxuan hesitate. Business is about mutual benefits, Jiang says, staring straight into his eyes. You get the company, I get the management rights. Totally fair. Fine, he can offer Jiang a seat on the board instead. Deal. Jiang raises his glass for a toast to their partnership. Leaving the hotel, our main character already has a complete plan ready. Since Ruyan wants to sell out for quick cash, he'll oblige. But she has no idea he's actually pulling the strings behind the scenes. Returning home, he finds Ruyan already asleep and leaves her alone. Instead, he heads straight to the study to compile the evidence. We are talking scandalous photos, videos, and leaked financial reports.
Every single piece proves her betrayal, but he won't expose her yet.
He wants her to dig her own grave until she cannot escape. The next morning, Chang plays it completely cool, like nothing happened. Over breakfast, he casually asks Ruyan how she slept last night. She claims she has no appetite, rubbing her belly from pregnancy.
He tells her to skip the gym and rest at home.
But she insists she has an extremely important training session scheduled. Her trainer Yuxuan is apparently giving her a full physical evaluation. A physical evaluation? Bro, our main character almost laughs out loud. He tells her to stay safe, and she quickly brushes it off. Jiang mentions that the investment market has been looking pretty rough lately.
He intentionally drops a hint that many startups are desperate for cash. Ruyan pauses mid-bite, clearly startled, before trying to play it off. She asks what he told his friend about recommended projects.
Jiang claimed he knows nothing about investing and told him to search.
Testing her reaction, he asks if she is interested, but she denies.
He offers to connect her with big investors, but she panics.
Ruyan quickly lies, claiming her business is actually doing amazing.
Seeing her panic like that just makes our boy Jiang sneer inside.
Seriously, Liu Ruyan? Your acting is getting worse by the second. Over the next few days, he quietly begins setting up his trap.
First, he uses his personal connections to secretly pull some strings.
He digs into her company finances, and honestly, the reality is a total train wreck. Not only is their cash flow bone dry, but huge unpaid debts are piling up. One group of angry clients demanding their money, and boom, instant bankruptcy. Of course, she never mentioned this to him. Next, he has Zhang Wei keep tailing Song Yuxuan. Turns out this guy is acting extremely sketchy lately. Besides constantly meeting up with Liu Ruyan, he is desperately begging for money everywhere.
He is even hitting up shady loan sharks, meaning his debt situation is fully out of control.
It has gotten incredibly bad. Now, step 3 is where the author really cooked.
Jiang secretly dives into that acquisition plan Li Mingxuan talked about.
He secretly becomes the mastermind pulling the takeover strings, but Li Mingxuan has no clue.
Jiang already used several shell companies to quietly scoop up shares of Star Investment. Once the takeover goes through, he will literally own her. Absolute boss energy right here. On Wednesday night, Liu Ruyan drags herself home extremely late. He asks why she is so late, and she lies about working overtime on a project. Avoiding his gaze, she looks nervous when he asks what is so urgent. She claims it is an advertising proposal for a new client due tomorrow morning. He casually asks how the prep is going, and she mumbles that it is fine. She clearly did not expect him to pry, but he offers to help anyway. He says he knows a bit about ads, but she quickly declines, saying she can handle it. Jiang just nods, then drops a massive bombshell. He is visiting her office tomorrow. "What are you going to my office for?" she asks, immediately panicking. He tells her a friend wants to invest in advertising and needs him to check out the market. "But tomorrow is crazy busy," she stammers, making excuses that she cannot host him. "No worries," he says. He will just look around on his own, without bothering her. She bites her lip in frustration, but has no choice but to nod. The next afternoon, Jiang shows up at her office right on time. It is a mid-sized agency with a pretty stylish modern setup. Everyone looks quite young, and the receptionist politely greets him.
She asks who he is looking for, and he says he is here for Manager Liu.
He casually adds that he is her husband, making the girl gasp. Her eyes light up as she says the boss mentions him all the time. She calls her up, and in no time, Liu Ruyan rushes out.
Looking incredibly stiff, she asks what he is doing there. He just smiles and reminds her that he said he was coming. "Are you not happy to see me?" he teases, and she quickly fakes a smile.
She forces out a laugh and offers to give him a quick tour of the place. Giving him a quick tour, she introduces different departments while trying to act normal. As he listens, he is secretly analyzing the entire vibe of the office. And yeah, just as his intel showed, it looks fancy, but is completely hollow inside. Most of the staff look totally burnt out, and he spots something even worse. Several key management roles are totally empty, so he casually asks how business has been. Our guy asks how business is, and she claims they are negotiating with several major clients. But when he asks who they are, she immediately plays the trade secret card.
She says it is confidential, making him wonder if she is keeping secrets from him. He looks straight into her eyes, while she quickly promises it is not a trust issue.
She blames company policy, so he has no choice but to nod and drop it.
After touring the building, they head into Liu Ruyan's private office to sit down.
Liu Ruyan looks at him and asks what he honestly thinks about her company.
He tells her it looks fantastic and has some serious potential.
But he notices she seems deeply distracted with some heavy thoughts, though she instantly denies having any worries.
He quietly calls her name. Out of nowhere, he suddenly confesses that he feels like a massive distance is growing between them.
She asks what he means, but he reminds her they used to share absolutely everything in the past.
He points out she is carrying every burden all alone now, but she claims she is just trying to protect him from stress. As her husband, he argues that her problems are his problems too, and they should face them together.
Liu Ruyan looks down in absolute silence, completely at a loss for words.
Just then, her assistant knocks and walks in, saying a Mr. Lee is on the line. Hearing that name, her face turns completely pale, and honestly, the drama is already peak. He tells her to answer the call, but she quickly hesitates. She tells the assistant to make him wait, and she will call back later.
Once the assistant leaves, an incredibly awkward silence fills the room.
He asks which Mr. Lee she is talking about, and she stammers that it is just a client. Pushing further, he asks what kind of client could possibly deserve such a direct, personal phone call. Directly to her, she stammers that they are simply a massive investor who wants to work together. He questions why she won't just answer, pointing out it is actually incredibly rude to leave a client hanging.
She says she wanted to finish their talk, but he insists work comes first.
He tells her to handle her business, leaving Liu Ruyan completely hesitating for a long moment.
She finally picks up the phone and politely apologizes to Mr. Lee for the long wait.
She confirms to him that she's still considering his offer. She nods along, agreeing to meet him tomorrow.
Even though she is speaking in a quiet whisper, our guy still catches some key details of the call.
They are clearly discussing a takeover, and honestly, the tension here is unreal.
With her looking extremely pale after hanging up, he straight up asks if she is hiding a massive secret from him.
She quickly denies everything, nervously asking why on earth she would ever keep anything hidden from him. He asks why she has been so incredibly distracted lately, and she stammers that her work pressure has just been insane.
She finally blames the intense pressure of daily company operations.
Liu Ruyan finally admits a partial truth about the severe financial struggles her business is facing.
He asks if the company is in trouble, but she downplays the crisis. She admits cash flow is tight, and he asks why she didn't tell him sooner.
He offers his help immediately, but she insists she didn't want him to worry.
He calls her a fool, reminding her they are partners and should face every struggle together. He gently holds her hand and asks how much cash she actually needs. A complex look flashes in her eyes as she quickly claims she has already found a perfect solution to all their cash problems. When he asks how, she nervously reveals that a major investor is ready to inject some massive funding.
She softly whispers that the fund is called Xingchen Investment.
He acts shocked, knowing damn well that is actually Li Mingxuan's company. She asks if he knows him, hearing that this guy is some legendary high-tier investor.
Jiang nods, asking how the deal terms are looking so far.
Still negotiating, she says, but Jiang offers to help review it despite not being a pro. An extra pair of eyes always helps, but she quickly insists she can handle it alone.
Liu Ruyan rejects him instantly, so he just tells her to play it safe.
He warns her that these big-time investors are incredibly sharp and not to get scammed.
She claims she knows, but seeing her look so incredibly guilty just makes Jiang laugh inside.
She really thinks she is hiding it, but she has absolutely no idea what is coming.
Jiang is the actual puppet master of this entire game. Leaving her office, he heads straight out. He pulls up directly to Star Investment, making Li Mingxuan look pretty surprised to see him.
The boss asks why Jiang is there, and Jiang says he wants an update on the acquisition. Jiang sits down, and the man tells him everything is moving along quite smoothly.
Apparently, President Liu has already agreed to the basic terms, which gets Jiang asking for details. The offer is $50 million for a 70% controlling stake.
She keeps 30% and stays as manager, but that massive $50 million figure genuinely surprises Jiang. It is way higher than he expected, so he asks if that price is too steep.
Honestly, it really is a bit high, Li Mingxuan says with a smirk. But he is incredibly optimistic about President Liu, which makes Jiang ask what he sees in her. Her sheer talent and her charm, Li Mingxuan says, giving Jiang a very loaded look. Jiang instantly gets it. This guy is low-key trying to make a move on Liu Ruyan.
Honestly, that is even better. Let them destroy each other. So when is the official signing?
It is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, though President Lee wants a little more time to think.
What is there to hesitate about? She probably just hates losing control of her own company.
It is her baby, after all, but Jiang immediately chimes in with a sneaky suggestion.
When asked what he means, Jiang explains they need to guarantee this deal goes through. He suggests they speed things up, leaving the investor questioning why they would rush it.
Liu Ruyan's cash flow is completely dead. If they drag this out, things will fall apart.
That makes total sense, the man agrees, promising to push her for a rapid decision.
Jiang also brings up his own role in management, and the investor tells him not to worry.
A seat on the board is already reserved for him, and Jiang politely offers his thanks.
Leaving Star Investment, Jiang immediately jumps on a call with his assistant, Zhang Wei.
He asks for updates on Song Yuxuan, and the manager reports that the target is acting wildly suspicious.
Just this afternoon, he was spotted meeting with some incredibly shady-looking characters.
Jiang asks what he means, and the manager reveals they look exactly like loan sharks.
Apparently, the meeting went totally south, so Jiang orders his man to keep tailing him. He demands instant updates before heading back home later that evening.
Liu Ruyan has dinner ready and immediately asks where he has been all day.
She wonders why he is so late, but he casually claims he was just meeting friends.
Zhang sits down, claiming they were just discussing a bit of business.
She comments on his great mood, but her own smile is incredibly forced.
He asks about her company deal, and she says they should have answers by tomorrow. Jiang tells her that is great, hoping it wraps up so she can finally relax. She nods, but Zhang can clearly see she is low-key losing her mind with anxiety.
After eating, Zhang fakes being exhausted and tells Ruyan he's heading up to sleep.
He says his goodnights, leaving her alone with her secrets downstairs.
Zhang tells her to get some rest, but the moment he heads upstairs, he keeps his ears wide open.
Sure enough, it does not take long before he overhears Liu Ruyan calling her shady lover, Song Yuxuan. She is heard confirming everything is set for tomorrow, even admitting she knows the risks are massive.
But she says there is no other choice, desperately asking if his debt has been cleared yet.
Wait, they are moving? She panics, telling him to stay calm.
She promises to find a way. Listening from the stays, Jiang smiles.
Everything finally clicks. Song Yuxuan is drowning in debt.
Liu Ruyan wants to steal that $50 million to bail him out so they can both run.
They plan to take the leftover cash and flee. Honestly, what a couple of absolute clowns.
But they have no idea that this $50 million is a massive trap.
It is going to be the very rope that hangs them. The next morning, she wakes up incredibly early.
Liu Ruyan is visibly shaking, looking like an absolute nervous wreck before she even leaves. She fake sweetly tells him she will be home late because of an important meeting at the office. When Zhang asks what meeting, she lies, claiming it is the final negotiation with their primary investor.
Jiang just smiles and wishes her luck, offering to help with advice if she ever needs it.
He tells her to call anytime, and she acts grateful, thanking her dear husband.
She gives him a hug. Little does she know this is the last time she will ever call him husband. She will ever call him husband. That morning at the company,
Jiang schedules a massive meeting to give himself the perfect alibi for what is about to happen.
At 3 p.m., the phone rings. It is Secretary Lin with some major news.
The deal with Xingshan Investment is finally underway, and the trap is officially snapping shut. Jiang acknowledges it, and by 5 p.m. he gets a follow-up call from Li Mingchuan. He reports that the deal is signed and Liu Ruyan was surprisingly cooperative.
Great, Jiang asks when the party is, and Li mentions 8 p.m. at the Shangri-La Hotel.
Jiang promises to be there right on time before hanging up. The author cooked here. Tonight is going to be Liu Ruyan's absolute doomsday.
Right at 8 p.m., Jiang arrives at the Shangri-La Hotel looking sharp and ready.
The banquet hall is already packed with elite business partners and local high society. Seeing him walk in, Li Mingxuan immediately rushes over to warmly welcome President Jiang. Jiang congratulates him on acquiring such a prime business, but Li insists it is all thanks to Jiang's support. Toasting to their new partnership, Li Mingxuan raises his glass with a massive grin. After a quick drink, Jiang scans the room but notices Liu Ruyan is nowhere to be found. He asks if she is late, and Li says she's just wrapping up some personal business.
She should be here soon. But it takes another 30 minutes for Liu Ruyan to finally show up.
Dressed in a sharp black business suit, she looks absolutely drained and exhausted, like she hasn't slept. She immediately apologizes to Li Mingxuan, saying she is sorry for keeping everyone waiting so long. But Li is super understanding, telling her it is fine and acting like the perfect business partner. Jiang walks up, acting concerned, and asks why her face looks so pale.
She brushes it off, forcing a weak smile and claiming she is just tired.
Jiang tells her to sit down and rest, guiding her gently to the sofa.
But as he helps her sit, he notices her hands are trembling uncontrollably. Talk about guilty. He sits down right next to her, gently asking if there is something she is keeping from him.
She looks away, completely avoiding his eyes, and insists everything is perfectly fine.
Just then, Li Mingxuan walks over to celebrate, telling her that today's signing was a massive success. He welcomes her as their new partner, and she nods, asking him to take good care of her. Liu Ruyan politely responds, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Jiang." Li Mingxuan speaks up, offering to introduce their newest board member starting first thing tomorrow. "You are officially our new director." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan stares at her husband in absolute shock. "How did you become a director?" she gasps, but he says he forgot to mention it.
He calmly explains he joined the acquisition, leaving her stuttering, asking when he even decided this.
A few days ago, Mr. Li mentioned they needed a bit more financial support. He figured it was a good investment opportunity, and suddenly, Liu Ruyan's face turns completely pale. "You two knew each other already?" she stammers, but Lai smiles and calls Jiang an old friend. Li Mingxuan adds that this entire takeover only went smoothly because of him.
It was all thanks to Jiang's help. At this point, Liu Ruyan just stares blankly at him.
Her eyes are filled with pure shock and terror as she asks what he really means. He smiles, saying it is nothing major, just wanting to better support her career. He laughs, saying they are colleagues now, but she stammers, realizing he knew all along. Her voice is visibly trembling, but he playfully asks, "Knew what exactly?" He plays dumb, prompting her to bring up her secret plan of selling the company. Of course he knew, asking if she did not literally tell him yesterday. Looking deep into her eyes, he asks if she regrets it now, leaving her totally speechless.
She can only shake her head in panic. Right then, his phone starts ringing.
It is his assistant Zhang Wei calling to report a major emergency. Zhang Wei sounds incredibly frantic, so he asks what happened. The personal trainer, Yuxuan, got jumped and beaten up badly. He is currently in the hospital. Hearing this, Jiang glances over at Liu Ruyan. She clearly overheard the call, and honestly, seeing her lose her cool is pure gold. He asks if it is serious, and Zhang Wei confirms he is badly hurt. Apparently, the attackers warned that if he does not pay up soon, next time will be much worse. He acknowledges the news, hangs up, and immediately turns his gaze back to Liu Ruyan. He tells her that her trainer has been hurt, making her jump up in a panic. He got beaten up and is in the hospital now. She immediately rushes toward the door, but he grabs her arm and tells her to wait. Holding her arm tight, he asks her why she is in such a massive rush. She stammers that he is just her trainer, so of course she should care. "Just a trainer?" he questions, staring straight into her shifting eyes. At this point, she has no excuses left. She is totally backed into a corner. Meanwhile, the other guests in the hall notice their quiet confrontation and look over. As everyone whispers, Li Mingxuan walks over and asks if something is wrong. "It is nothing major," he says calmly, "just her personal trainer getting into an accident." Since she wants to visit him, Li Mingxuan kindly offers to tag along with her. But Jiang immediately stops him, saying there is no need for him to go. He suggests Li stay and host the remaining guests while he accompanies his wife, which Li happily agrees to. He leads her out of the hall, and once they get inside the car, she starts crying uncontrollably. She stammers, wanting to explain but choking up, so he tells her to just spit it out. "There were no secrets between us," he says, prompting her to finally apologize to him. She finally confesses her guilt, but when he asks why, she stammers out Yuxuan's name. He plays dumb, asking her what about her trainer Yuxuan. With her head down in shame, she finally admits to the affair. Talk about a plot twist. She panics, stuttering as she tries to ask if he's saying she betrayed him. Our guy just lets out a cold laugh, asking her when exactly it started. 3 months ago, she whispers. Hearing this, he pulls the car over and glares right at her. Crying her eyes out, Liu Ruyan confesses that the baby she's carrying actually belongs to her lover. Even though our guy already knew the truth, actually hearing her say it out loud cuts him deep. Honestly, seeing him look at her and ask why she did it is heartbreaking. She claims she doesn't even know why, saying she just couldn't help herself. He scoffs at her pathetic excuse, asking if 3 years of marriage meant absolutely nothing to her.
But she keeps playing the victim, crying about how she was also hurting and didn't want this.
He snaps back, asking why she didn't just tell him instead of lying to him for months. She says she was scared of losing her family, but he coldly reminds her that she already has. He drops another bomb, bringing up the $50 million she was planning to steal. He asks if she was going to run away with her lover, leaving her completely stunned. When she asks how he knows, he tells her flat out that he knows literally everything.
He pulls out his phone and plays a voice recording of her plotting with Song Yuxuan.
It's the entire blueprint of their escape plan, and hearing it makes her completely lose her mind. Liu Ruyan completely breaks down at this point, begging him and crying that she was wrong.
She clings to his arm like a parasite, begging for his forgiveness.
But it's way too late for that. He shoves her away, saying some things can never be undone. In pure despair, she looks up and asks him what he wants to do now. Without a single second of hesitation, our guy drops the ultimate word: divorce.
She just stares at him like a deer in headlights, unable to believe her ears.
He looks her dead in the eye and repeats the word.
His voice is cold and absolute as he tells her they have absolutely nothing left
to salvage, but she just keeps crying, begging him to stop.
She keeps crying out that she messed up and finally realizes her mistake.
Tears stream down her face as she grabs his arm again, desperate to hold on. She even promises to cut ties with the other guy and end the pregnancy immediately. Honestly, seeing her beg like this while our guy stands there feeling absolutely nothing is pure gold. He asks her how he could ever believe her, but she desperately swears she will change. He reminds her that she's made way too many empty promises and aggressively shakes her off. He brings up her wedding vows from 3 years ago, leaving her completely speechless and choking on tears. But wait, there is a massive plot twist here. It's not just about her cheating. Our guy lets out a dark chuckle and tells her she's way too naive. Before she can even ask what he means, he brings up her selling off his company. He stares at her horrified face, asking if she honestly thought he was that blind. He reveals she wanted to use that $50 million to pay off Song Yuxuan's massive debts, all so they could run away together. Hearing this, her face turns completely pale.
She stutters, asking how he could possibly know, but he just repeats that he knows everything.
He pulls out a thick folder filled with every single piece of evidence against them.
We're talking hotel logs, bank transactions, and direct receipts of her betrayal.
Every single call recording is in there. She takes the folder with trembling hands, completely terrified.
After flipping through just a couple of pages, she completely loses all strength and collapses. She whispers, asking how he got them, but he tells her that doesn't even matter.
What actually matters is that her game is officially over. Our guy cooked so hard here. She lost completely, but she does not even realize it. She thinks selling her company gets her $50 million, but our main character just shakes his head. Way too naive, and right then a horrible realization finally starts creeping into her mind. Something terrifying, because Jiang Beichen is the real mastermind pulling the strings behind this entire acquisition. He drops the truth on her. Li Mingxuan is literally just his proxy. Most of Qingchen Investment belongs to him, which means her company is officially his now. Talk about a complete takeover. Liu Ruyan stands there totally frozen, completely speechless, as she struggles to ask why. Why would he do this to her? She finally manages to squeeze out. Her voice is trembling like a candle in the wind, but Jiang Beichen just laughs mockingly at her pathetic state. He reminds her that she was the one who betrayed and deceived him first.
He is honestly just giving her a taste of her own medicine at this point.
As for that $50 million, it will still be paid exactly as the contract states. But there is a catch. He stares cold at her and says she must work for him for 3 full years. Otherwise, she has to return every single cent, and his entire trap finally clicks in her head. "You did this on purpose," she gasps, and he proudly admits it. He asks if she seriously thought he would just let them run off with his money and live happily ever after. She calls him absolutely ruthless.
Ruthless, he sneers. Compared to what she did to him, this is practically nothing.
But then she panics and asks what is going to happen to Yuxuan now.
What about his massive debts? Jiang Beichen could not care less.
He coldly tells her that since they chose betrayal, they have to face the music. The consequences are all on them now, leaving Liu Ruyan completely broken and hopeless. She collapses back into her car seat, tears streaming down her face in total defeat.
She suddenly glares up at him and screams how much she absolutely hates him. Her eyes are filled with pure venom, but he just finds her hatred hilarious.
Honestly, what right does she even have to hate him when she was scheming against him from day one? He shakes his head. If she had never betrayed him, none of this would be happening. If she had not cheated on him, would he have ever targeted her? Would he have even investigated her if she had not tried to steal his money and run away? Would he have built this trap at all? At the end of the day, she brought this entirely on herself. She is totally speechless because she knows every single word he said is a hard fact. He gives her two simple choices now, and both of them are brutal. Option 1 is to work for him for 3 years, and only then can she take the money and leave. Or she leaves immediately, but she must return every single dollar back to him. Plus, he will sue them both into oblivion and send Song Yuxuan straight to prison. How can he threaten her like this? She stammers, but he calmly says it is not a threat. It is just reality, he tells her with a bone-chilling cold stare. The ball is in her court, and she falls into a long, painful silence. Finally, she weakly chooses the first option, which he nods to as a very smart move. But wait, he is not done. There's actually one more condition. She asks what it is, and he demands she cut ties with Song Yuxuan immediately. Otherwise, he will make sure the guy rots in prison, and she screams that he cannot do this. He simply pulls out another folder packed with solid evidence of Song Yuxuan's major crimes. Fraud, embezzlement, illegal fundraising, literally any single one of these charges is enough to lock him up forever. Staring at the files, the light completely drains from her eyes as she finally submits and agrees. She finally breaks and compromises, so Jiang Beichen packs up the papers. Next stop is the hospital so she can dump Song Yuxuan face to face. Right here, right now, he revs up the car again. Dragging this out only makes things worse for him. And she goes dead silent. She just sits there, in the passenger seat, tears silently streaming down. Honestly, at this point, the Jiang Beichen she once loved is officially dead. But honestly, who cares? The version of him she loved? That guy died 3 whole months ago. Meanwhile, at the hospital ward, Song Yuxuan is lying in bed with heavy bandages wrapped around his face. He looks totally wrecked, but the second Liu Ruyan walks in, his eyes instantly light up with hope as he struggles to sit up, calling out her name. She tells him to stay down as she walks over to his bedside. No affectionate touch this time. Instead, he immediately starts complaining about how brutal those thugs were. He whines that they will end him if he does not pay up, then freezes. He spots Jiang Beichen standing right in the doorway and stutters out his name. His face goes completely pale as he asks what he is doing there. Jiang Beichen strolls inside, casually stating he just came to check on him. He says he heard it was bad. Song Yuxuan shifts his eyes, terrified. Too scared to look at him. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan speaks up. Her voice is chillingly calm as the scumbag asks what is wrong.
She drops the ultimate bomb, telling him they need to break up.
Song Yuxuan just stares at her in sheer disbelief, asking what she means. He asks what she is saying, so she repeats it clearly. She coldly repeats that they are totally done and will never meet again. The guy panics instantly, pointing at Jiang Beichen and asking if he threatened her. She snaps back that nobody forced her, and this is entirely her own choice. He refuses to believe it, begging her to explain what is going on. She tells him absolutely nothing happened. She has just finally woken up. Staring right at him, she says they are just not meant to be. He completely loses his mind, shouting that she is carrying his baby. But she coldly replies that she will take care of the kid. He panics when she says she will handle it, realizing she means an abortion. He tries to scramble out of bed, but the pain stops him cold. He begs, trying to remind her of their promises, but she says they mean nothing. He is practically begging at this point, crying out for her. He desperately begs her to remember all their happy times and their plans.
And that is when Jiang Beichen steps in. What plans exactly?
Realizing he slipped up, he quickly shuts his mouth and claims it was nothing.
But Jiang Beichen is already one step ahead, pulling out a voice recording.
Their voices fill the room, exposing their secret plot to run away together. They literally planned to take his money and elope. Absolute trash behavior. Song Yuxuan turns pale as a ghost, stuttering about the recording. But wait, there is more.
He slides over a fresh stack of physical evidence as well.
Crystal clear shots of their secret hotel hookups. Talk about getting caught red-handed. Completely cornered, the guy starts begging him to listen to an explanation. Song Yuxuan tries to defend himself, but our guy isn't having it. Jiang Beichen cuts him off to deliver some savage news.
Song Yuxuan asks what it is, and Jiang Beichen drops the bomb.
He tells him Liu Ruyan is officially done with him for good. Song Yuxuan loses his mind, screaming what right he even has. But Jiang Beichen is built different. Watch him slap down this folder. It has all his criminal evidence from fraud to straight-up embezzlement.
Every single count is enough to send him away for years.
Pale with absolute terror, the scumbag asks when this even started. Jiang Beichen coldly replies he was watching him from day one. He asks if the guy seriously thought he could hide this. Did he actually borrow from loan sharks or just scam people? And was he ever real with Liu Ruyan or just using her? Song Yuxuan is completely speechless because he is caught red-handed. Jiang Beichen holds all the cards now and gives him two choices. Option 1 is to pack his bags and leave town immediately. Never show his face again and they can call it even. Option 2, keep playing around and go straight to prison. He tells the guy to choose his destiny right now. The villain looks over at Liu Ruyan, but her face is totally frozen. No warmth left. He begs, asking if she is really doing this. And all she has to say is a quiet apology. Ruined and defeated, he weakly admits he will take the first option.
Jiang Beichen nods, calling it a very smart move. He gives him 3 days to vanish or face the consequences.
With that, he walks out of the ward, with Liu Ruyan following. At the door, she steals one last glance at Song Yuxuan. The final look before they sever ties forever. They never meet again. Outside the hospital, she stops him. She confronts him, asking if he is finally happy now. Not even close. Our main character answers honestly. This plot twist is wild. He demands a divorce tomorrow. She is shocked, bringing up the 3-year work contract. But Jiang Beichen makes it clear, business is business. He can keep her on the payroll but wants out of the marriage. No way he can stay with someone who betrayed him. He looks her dead in the eye. Some damage is permanent. She goes quiet for a long moment, then slowly nods. The next morning, they find themselves at the divorce registry. It is a quick process that is all done in 30 minutes. Seeing the official papers, her tears start falling all over again. She chokes up, saying they are just strangers now. He corrects her. They are colleagues, and she owes him 3 years. She can only offer a bitter smile and silent acceptance. Leaving the building, they get into separate cars and drive away. As Liu Ruyan's car finally disappears down the street, our main character lets out a massive sigh of relief. Just like that, his 3-year marriage is over, and getting randomly isekai'd into this crazy world right after is just wild. He's been stuck here for years. No quests, no OP systems, just straight-up economic inflation. Money is measured in hundreds of millions like it's pocket change, and annoying delinquents keep popping up everywhere. It gets worse. Some mysterious force is slowly eating away his sanity. But fortunately, he meets a super cute girl. Honestly, this might be his ticket to a peaceful life. But lately, his memory is slipping. He needs to prepare, fast. So he decides to craft a custom ring engraved with highly encrypted information. A constant physical reminder of who he really is, swearing he won't forget. He will find a way out here,